I was just at Wendy's, and something I saw there triggered the piss out of me because it reminded me of a run I had earlier today, and it also reminded me of some attacks that I've had to, I don't know, I don't think endure is the right word, but some attacks that I've had to put up with over the years. And the topic we're going to talk about today, this is going to be privilege, or, you know, people saying that that you got where you are and it wasn't you that got you there. That kind of stuff pisses me off to no end. Now the run that I had this morning that reminded me of this, I guess I should say, if you haven't already noticed, I think I'm gonna make it the screenshot or the thumbnail of this video, but if not, I'm gonna put the picture right here. So I pulled up to Wendy's and they said, you know, I ordered my cheeseburgers. So they're sitting there getting cold, but I had to say this while it's still on my mind. They're like, go ahead and pull up to the second window. When I pulled up to the first window, there was a car in front of me waiting for their food. So I had to sit at the first window where normally you would pay. There was nobody there because there's an employee shortage right now in this country for some reason, and Wendy's is not immune, I guess is the word I'm looking for. So if you look over at the window where normally you would be paying, there's all these signs that say $1,000 signing bonus and all this other stuff and how much Wendy's is paying. And it reminded me that there's an employee shortage in this country. There is no shortage of work. Anybody who wants work and is able-bodied can get a freaking job right now. And it pisses me off that people don't. The run today that reminded me of that, my partner and I were at this house with this woman complaining about how this guy that she's been with for years has put her in prison, done all these things to her, and he's just the worst person in the world, and we need to go in and kick his door down with zero evidence and arrest him because he's been so bad to her. And her main crux was that she just got her tax return, and it's on her little tax return debit card. It was $6,000. And then this dude that was with her starts chiming in saying, yeah, I have $11,000 on my tax return card, and I can't, and I don't have mine either, because we had just told them about how to go about replacing their stupid H&R Block cards. And I made a comment to my buddy. I said, man, it just doesn't pay to work anymore. There's people who their only job is to live off the government, and then at the end of the year, they get a bunch of money back from taxes, and it drives me absolutely crazy. Then if you confront them on it, they say, well, I can't find a job, blah blah blah. And it reminds me of the times that I've had, like, personal friends of mine that I grew up with that have attacked me for kind of the position that I'm in today, or the success that I've had, and the fact that I've been able to get something nice for myself, a decent house in a decent neighborhood, a family, a couple nice cars. I'm not wealthy by any means, but I'm doing fairly well for myself. And they say, well, you're just privileged, or you've been blessed, or you're just lucky that you got in that position. I've told this story before. I told it on Lenny's Poorly Made podcast. I did not grow up with anything. I grew up in a poor house, a single parent house, until my mom remarried when I was almost a teenager. We were on welfare. We were on food stamps. We didn't have a car that worked. We didn't have a furnace that worked. I had electric blankets that didn't have the plug thing. I remember fighting with my brother over who got the blankets to put on their bed at night because we were so cold. Our cars were such pieces of crap that we would park way away from the grocery store and have to walk in. There were food banks that we would go to, and we would sneak in the early morning before everybody else because my mom didn't want people to know that we were going to a food bank for food. I remember one Christmas when we didn't have food for a Christmas meal, and somebody knocked on the door, and it was someone from the church that was delivering food to the house. And I remember seeing my mom break down in tears because someone had brought us food. I grew up that way, and I was determined not to live that way when I became an adult. When I was 16 years old, I got a job at a car dealership washing cars and mowing lawns. As soon as I turned 18, I bought a car with money that I saved from delivering papers and washing cars. I bought that car. I started delivering pizzas. I went into the military, got my college paid for. When I came home, I had not just one job at a time, but I had two jobs. I had a morning job and an afternoon job, and I was going to college at the same time. It's funny, the last speeding ticket I got was actually a speeding ticket I got right after I got home from the Iraq War, before I went back overseas with Blackwater. I was working at an Italian restaurant called Bravo. I worked the lunch shift there, and I worked the evening shift at Champs down by campus. I had to finish my morning shift, run home, change my clothes, and what I would do is I would eat at the restaurant for lunch, go home, change my clothes into my other work uniform. At the time I had a motorcycle. I'd get on my motorcycle and get down to Champs as fast as I possibly could, and then I'd work there until 1 or 2 in the morning and then come back home. The last speeding ticket that I ever got was when I was jumping on the freeway trying to get to my second job on my motorcycle. I could see rain clouds coming in. I got pulled over on my bike. I had to sit backwards on my bike staring at a Columbus City police officer while it started to downpour, and he wrote me a ticket for reckless op because the speed that I was going on my motorcycle while trying to get to my second job. I spent my entire life trying to make something of myself and not make excuses for why I don't have certain things. And there's so many opportunities in this world right now that it's beyond frustrating when I see people who will say that they can't get anything for themselves because they can't find a job, or they can't find the right paying job, or you can't support yourself on whatever wage this one job is paying. Go get 2 fucking jobs. There is no excuse for this. I'm tired of seeing places like Wendy's offering $1,000 signing bonus and people telling me that they can't find a job. The reason it's so frustrating is because they're lying. It's not that they can't find a job, it's that they're unwilling to find a job. And it's not just that they're unwilling to find a job, it's that they're unwilling to work. We live in a society that's based on more people paying into the system than it is about people taking out of the system. And for some reason, we are raising a culture that is, it's the word I'm looking for. They're basing their way of life on taking more out of the system than what they're putting into the system. It's very frustrating. I'm tired of seeing it. I'm tired of hearing people's excuses. There needs to be real change and real reform in our society if we expect anything to do better. Because the other problem is that these people that don't have jobs, one thing that a job does for you is it gives you a reason to get out of bed in the morning. It gives you a purpose. It gives you a reason to stay out of jail. It gives you a reason to not do drugs and to do the things that you need to have a good life. Right now, we have a government system that encourages people not to do any of those things, and they no longer have a purpose. They can sit on their ass, literally do nothing, and collect a check. And then at the end of the year, they get an even bigger check, which they will waste. Or they will just funnel that money directly into the hands of violent drug dealers. So I don't know if that's the place I meant to go with this conversation, but it's the truth. But regardless, thanks for hanging out. Sorry to drop all this on you right now, but it was on my mind. I'll talk to you guys later.